Hello, hello. How's it going on today? Hello, Luigi. First time seeing you, I think. How's it going, Luigi? What's up in your life? Today, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm happy that you're good. I'm happy that you're good. First thing that we're going to do, okay? I received a chat not long ago. And that chat was absolute brilliant, okay? So let's actually do it. The idea is that I can actually look at my code. Look at this. Look at this genius. I'm now looking at the code. Okay. Okay, we're doing good today. We're doing good. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do. The second thing that we're doing today is, well, looking at Git, because MBE has sent me a ominous message, let's put it that way, that states something like, I'm so sorry, I pushed to Git. And I have no idea what it means. Did he, like, break something? Or is everything okay? Or should I, like, look to kill myself? Please. I just want to go to my thing. Okay. What did you push? Updated 3 hours ago. Okay. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Okay, so we've removed the deck because it's not being used. Okay. I guess we're cleaning things up. Alright, seems fair. No, I'm more of a very dumb guy with my text editor, so I actually use kdevelop, which is just Kate with pretty things. But I don't have a good taste with that, right? I'm just a retard. Alright. So besides doing that and adding a new file, I guess. Alright, so just some small thing. And before it was mine. Okay. Why did MBE even panic about this? I gave him the authority to do it. Alright. Oh, man. We're too respectful, okay? We're too respectful. That's the issue. So let's get started. Let's actually log into everything. And let's get ourselves to the latest version. So, oh man, I always forget. It's not push. I'm very bad at this. It's fetch, I think. Or pull. Pull. Okay. Okay. So let's put everything into place so that I can actually edit it. Alright. And let's... Ooh, that sounds private. Okay. And let's just go copy the file at the right place on the computer too. I've got a weird setup. Don't think about it. Alright, we create a new tab. We start the fun little program. Shit. Auto upload. Boom. All right. Okay, we're set. Now every change will be auto uploaded. So, let's get started. Let's reload this. Will I have my colors? Alright. You know what? Today, I want to make more things work, okay? Let's just run it once. See if it still runs as it should. Because we got a lot done, right? Oh. Oh. What happened here? We've got new errors. And things are not being drawn as good as before, I guess, but who cares? Okay. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. What are the errors at the start? Okay, it's because we dropped multiple times and now the errors actually has some feedback. So let's not drop 3 times all the tables from our database because it's kind of useless. I don't think that we need to anymore. Like, let's just do it once, I guess. And replace this with if true. Just to keep the height. Alright, this should work. I'm a bit sick today. I don't know if my nose is red, but I've been blowing. Apart from that, I'm going pretty well. I ate some chocolate ice cream with some maple syrup alcohol in it. Ooh, man. That tastes great. Alright, so error fix. This one is normal because we're working on an old version. Let's just make sure that everything else is as it should. Looks good to me. Okay. So now let's go forward and add another AST type to what our scanner can scan, right? What our parser can do. Because right now we have functions, we have structs. Both of those are, at least should be, fully done. We don't have more to do inside of them besides the function. We will want to actually parse the code within the function. But for now, we could say the wrapper of the function, we have everything for that, so that's good. So let's take a look at what other things we could want to parse. So macros, we already do that through CPP Pro, right? We have a C preprocessor handling code that we already do. So these macro things and these inclusion things, we don't have to care about. Those are already done. And I mean, libclang is just bad at handling them. So good thing that we do it ourselves. So next thing, do we have any other cursor kind? We should probably start by removing all the prints that are freaking useless, right? Or at least just comment them out. So let's go do that. Because it's kind of triggering to just have to look through a bunch of shit instead of doing anything useful. It's probably on the bottom. Yep. Alright, somewhere in here. Holy shit! Little Indian maple stream, indeed. I mean, MB is an absolute unit, okay? He came in my DMs and he said, "Brother, you can look as if you're looking at your code instead of looking off the window." I'm like, oh man, I'm looking at the code now. Ma, look at me. So, yeah. Let's highlight the prints. Hi Maple, what are we doing? Can you give some context to the newcomers? Absolutely I can. So... oh man, I was about to delve into some deep fried meme, but let's focus, okay? So, I have a project that I want to do. It's called KernelInfo, okay? The goal of KernelInfo is making a website that... in which you can know more about the kernel, right? We have a lot of websites where we get a bunch of cool information, but it always feels as if we could get more, right? So Bootlin is probably the best example of this, Bootlin Elixir. You can go and click on each version of the kernel, and let's say that I want version 3.0. I can click on the files, I can see the files, I can search some type within it. So if I want like Basque struct, like I can search things. Like all of these things are really good, really cool. But when you're going through that, like there is a feeling of you could do so much more with that information. How cool would it be if whenever you click on a version, you would be able to have kind of a git blame that would tell you what, like when the change occur. Like that would be fun. Now let's push it one step further. It would be very fun to have the mailing list into it. That would be cool, right? So if you could have not only the commit that changed the thing, but a link to the mailing list, or just like a drop-down thing to the mailing list, to the actual like post related to whatever the F you're looking at, that would be even better. And like all of these things, they don't require much, but parsing the whole kernel, shoving it into a database, and making the links, right? You just need to find a way to do that. So that's what we're doing. Right now we're at the parser stage, so we're not making a website, we're only taking things and shoving them into the database. So right now I'm focusing on taking each of these little things and, well, categorizing them, shoving them into MySQL, which we will then be able to use to do a bunch of cool shit with it. So that's the overall idea. So right now, we're messing around with CLang, with AST, with all of the good shit that that the CLang team has given us to work with. So yeah, we're parsing the kernel. Alright, enough yap. Let's go into trying to remove the prints, because I've put a lot of debug prints, like all of these things, and they just make things a little bit more confused, because we don't need all of these anymore. We only need part of it. So let's go through it. Well, I can just do this. Alright. So like this can just go, because that's just to know the type of a thing. We're not going to destroy this completely, because it could be still useful. That's for the structs. That's the one that's very useful, because it tells us what the hell we're looking at in more detail. I think that's pretty much all there needs to be changed. So if we look, we should have a clearer output. All right, so that's pretty much the output of clang. So libclang, whenever it parses the file, that's the output that we get. That's kind of a high overview of it. Now we're already able to parse all of this. Well, not var declare. Ooh, that could be one. Sorry. Like I said, I'm a bit more on the sicker side here. So maybe var declare would be interesting to parse. So let's actually get into it. So we're in bind.h. So let's go to bind.h. Lol. I just explained it, but we're parsing the kernel to put everything into a DB and to then be able to make cool websites with it. That's so cool, man. Maybe it can be like a generic parser for another OSS project because you're basically parsing C code. So maybe create a wrapper when finished. Yes, everything I'm doing can be, well, it will be, and it could be generic, right? It could be used for any other project, but there's still some places where like things are purpose built for the kernel, and for now we're just trying to get there, right? So I don't really care about making these things modular or better, but yes, like at the very end of that process, it would be cool to make it generic. Like, one of the thing that we did lately is that in the kernel, the way that they make modules is by having a bunch of these, like, if and def and define. So what we do is oh, and also if def, right? So what we do is we parse them and we override them to be able to read the whole file, right? So there's a bunch of cool shit, but those things are mostly like kernel specific. Well, there's other projects that will do that, but it might not be as heavy as with the kernel. Hello, Stan, how's it going? And by the by, I didn't say hello, Cardian, but hello still. And hello, Ofeki. Hello, Dustin. Happy to see you all. Do you still find value with the open source model, or is it the recurring revenue subscription model better for operating system sustainment? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a view for that. I don't really care. What I'm going to say is that a big problem with open source is that a lot of people have this puritanical view of open source. They think that because something is open source, there should be no revenue. It should only be like people that like making the code just make the code. Yes, GNU, exactly. And like, that's dumb, right? Because whenever we look at the Linux kernel, the reason why the Linux kernel is so big and so like complete is because Microsoft is in there, is because Nvidia is in there, Intel, AMD, everybody is in there making their code, making sure that their systems are first compatible with the Linux kernel, and then everybody else has to look at what is inside of the Linux kernel to copy it and make their hardware work, right? The fact that everybody comes together and that big businesses pour money into the development process is what is good. So, like, I don't go one way or another. I think that it's cool that I can see all the code, and I like it. And I think that it's probably safer because we are able to, like, report errors, report malicious code, while if you're in an ecosystem like Apple's ecosystem, well, who the fuck knows, right? Of course, it's not in their... It won't be their intent to make something like blatantly something that can be bypassed, because there's no money in that, right? It's bad for their brand, but still, like, you have to trust, and that's kind of bad. Stan, good. I think you said good or gut. Gut. I went to the gym today. Remembered I have legs. I know the feeling, my friend. And you know what? Like, tomorrow it's going to be worse. But that's life. And as one very dumb guy once says, and every other dumb guy repeats, and I completely agree because I'm a retard too. No pain, no gain. Okay. Did you contribute to the kernel? Nope. My friend, I am not smart, and I am not a good programmer. I learned Python through doing this. I'm just stubborn, so... Today, I tried to connect to Microsoft VPN College from my Fedora machine. It didn't work. I have to load 3 kernel module and turn off SC Linux for it to work because they use L2P. God damn. What's going on with my throat? Yeah, VPN are a thing that have always been garbage on Linux. So, if you've seen the kernel video for that, I don't remember if it was it's not last one, it was the one before, I think. So it would be 6.17. They started like implementing way more of the code for some, was it the OpenVPN implementation? I don't remember. Anyway, for some VPN implementation inside of the kernel, and makes things way faster. I think that is just the way that VPN needs to operate that is just bad, right? It's just like, it's not meant for Linux. Maybe a server is, but a client, hell no. So I'm happy that they're doing work on that front inside of the kernel. Do you find that there's a lot of bloat and technical debt sitting inside the Linux kernel? I don't know why we would say that. I think that a lot of people will see bloat where other people will see features. And what that tells me is that the people that are calling it bloat, it's probably just that they don't know how things work or why something is the way that it is. What would not surprise me is if there was a lot of things that were done in a specific way because it's always been that way, and that it's maybe not optimal, but it's like, even if we were to fix all of these occurrences inside of the kernel, like, and compare release without all of the fixes and release with the fixes, like, we're not hitting more than 5%, and it would be like a rewrite from top to bottom to fix. So these things are just, to me, they feel like a waste of time to think about it. Like, if you think that there's an issue with a specific part of the code, fix it or prove that you have a better way to do it. I'm absolutely 100% in a rewrite of ext4 that makes it faster. I just don't know that it's possible or, like, easy to do. Or even worth it, right? Like, nobody's going to spend years of their life making a freaking rewrite. Anything is possible. True, right? I'm here and I'm making this freaking parser. I've accepted that I'm going to waste probably a year or two working on this shit. So, like, you've got people that are stubborn in life, and that's okay. That's how we get progress. That's how we got Linux, right? Linus was just a stubborn little shit, and he did it. So, good on him. And I'm happy about it. I like Linux. It just works great. Where was I? I think we found a new thing that we wanted to parse, which was the vars declare. Let's actually get that going before I forget about it another time. So, we have a main function that kind of redistributes between all of the other functions. So here we're telling if it's a... Oh shit, I need to do a TLDR for CLang because nobody's going to understand anything. Alright. So, whenever you parse code, or, well, whenever you compile using LLVM with CLang, the way that it works is it's going to split thing into what we call the AST. So AST stands for I don't freaking know what the A syntax tree, okay? And what it does is it takes your file, split it into little chunks, and then you end up with cursors. And these cursors, like you have multiple one of them, and these cursors can point to types or other cursors or attributes that they have. So right now we're kind of looking at what type of cursor the cursor is. We have already taken care of the function. Goddamn. Function cursors, the struct cursors, and now we're looking into the vars, which I have no idea how it would be different than a struct, a limited struct. So it's probably going to be just some piping around and it will be very easy to do. Abstract, thank you, my friend. Sorry if I'm destroying your ears. Do you ever get told that you look very Persian? Why is that? Don't understand. I'm the most Canadian motherfucker there ever is. And by the way, hello to you too. I don't think you were there before. I should probably shout out the new channel because I will be streaming on another channel soon because I don't want to bother everybody else. My friend, I just drank some, well, drank and ate some chocolate ice cream with maple syrup, alcohol in it. Okay, folks, subscribe to this shit. That's going to be where I stream from in the future. I'll make the switch soon. I don't know when, but I will. So subscribe, folks. But yes, I am as white as it gets. As white and as Canadian as it gets. And I love it. Alright. Well, let's start in the same way that we always do, which is create like its own little function thing. So we're going to copy over this and var declare. Alright. What does var declare even look like in writing? So NLM SVC ops. NLM SVC ops. Am I dumb? Oh, okay. Yes, I am. Okay. Whenever we have something that calls extern in C, what does that mean? Oh, CPP reference. Help me. Keyword. Extern. Aha. Okay. Static storage duration. Okay. So it's just like static, but a bit different, I guess. All right. Okay. So it's another thing like static. So let's not look into it because my brain's not good enough for that. East Persian for sure. Bro. Blend in Tehran. Whoa. Okay. I could be anti-Semitic enough for a day, okay? But apart from that, nah. No, okay? I don't know anything. Don't talk Farsi. I don't talk... No, don't know anything about the Quran. And I don't know anything about being oppressed. So, yeah. I'm confused about what that line does. Nah, air too good. No beard. It... What? What's the point? Okay, I don't get what this does. So we're just like declaring this value? Where is it used? What the hell's the point? Alright, let's look into it. Okay. Okay, I guess we're just storing something. Alright. It's for communicating between different modules in the kernel. Is it? The extern keyword? Oh, Dustin, I think you were talking about the extern thing. Maybe. The extern keyword tells the compiler that a variable or function is defined in another source file or elsewhere, allowing you to access it in the current scope without creating a new instance. Alright, okay. 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 I think I get it. I think I'm overthinking. I don't even need to know all of these things. I just need to know the info about that shit. So I guess we're just going to write some very dumb code. This is a war crime? Okay. Where is the type filter thingy? AST type getter, that's useful. Get over here. Alright, we added to self. Let's print this. Let's just get a few information in order to understand anything. Because I'm confused. Let's start with spelling. Then let's go with type.kind, if even that's a valid thing. And then nothing else. What the hell else would you want? Alright, let's go to it. God, I hate compilers. Which province do you live in? Quebec. Should be obvious from the fact that I don't know how to say anything correctly. But I try. Don't you think that I sound a little bit like excusey? Okay. Enough dumb shit, okay? Enough! Okay, that was actually the bad way to do it. That's the good way to do it. Look at this. We getting the kids. For kids. Whoops. Kids in this dot get underscore children. I think that's how we do it. I hope. And here we're going to copy this over just so we have something that prints the actual thing, and then the kids. Ha. Okay. Here we go. Stop doxing. Okay. I thought it was because your first language is Farsi. Kill me, bro. Bro. I don't even know. Should I take this as an insult and just be racist? Alright. Eh? I'm not looking at the right place, you dumb fuck. Okay. Have I even saved? Okay, I have. Okay, so the idea is that there is no kids. Wait, this isn't even... Bro, big fail. Big fail. Wasn't even executing it. Alright. Okay. Alright. Our lives are going to be shit a little bit, but who cares? Let's just get a bit more detail about the cursor kind. So I can parse this for real, for real. Wait. That sounds like one hell of a way to break my day. I need to check something. We had this cool little thing that allows us to do dumb things. Okay. That makes sense to me. Now, let's go Giga Chad and put the star here. Okay, okay, that's not valid. Whew. We back, okay? Sanity re-established. Oh, it could tell me what the fuck it does. Declare... Okay. Okay, now the problem that I have is that my type thingy... Where is it? Type getter already has all the code to know if something is a pointer. So I guess I'll need to have some additional code to do something with it. Youpty. Oh, where am I? Okay. So let's go... Let's do the get children thing. Let's just confirm that the kid is indeed a type ref, I guess? Wait. Am I doing something dumb? Yep, I'm doing something dumb. Okay, I get it. Sorry, I was doing something dumb. All I have to do is to parse the type. So all of this is giga retarded. This is good. Spelling is good. Extent is good. I just have to create this version, but with var declare instead of function declare. Okay. Let's do this. This should be fairly easy. We just copy and paste for the 15th time. Here we go. All right. All right, this should work. Yo, what's going on with Canada and China? I can't get anything coherent from the news. It's really hard to say. Okay, so let's just give a quick preamble. So, Canada for the last 10 years, well, 9, has been governed by Justin Trudeau. And Justin Trudeau is a really cool dude. He does a lot of cool shit. But one thing that he does that is maybe not that cool is the fact that his foreign policy was backed by rights. So if the country we were trading with had low human rights or civil rights or whatever the F, he would yell at them. So what happened is that our trade relation across the world became shit. Because Saudi Arabia, nah, you don't like women. China, nah, you have concentration camp, we don't deal with you. And like in the world that we were before, where we were aside big dick United States, and United States was the paragon of virtue, that could work. But in a world where the United States actively try to annex its neighbor, it doesn't. So, with that background, knowing that we have very poor relationship with China, and by the way, we had before Trudeau too. But Trudeau did not help, that's my point. With that background, with our new Prime Minister, which is Carney, this guy is like business focused as fuck, okay? The only thing that matters is that GDP goes up, that jobs go up, and that inflation stays stable, okay? He's been sent on Earth for this. So whenever Trump is like being a giga retard, and Carney sees that, okay, so our auto jobs are going to be destroyed because Trump is a fucking dumbass and he's levying tariffs against us and everybody. Well, instead of just taking the hit, we could actually take this position and try to negotiate some things with China that we could never have otherwise. Before Trump, it would have been unthinkable for us to say, yeah, maybe we will accept some autos from China, because we have auto jobs here that worked with the United States. But now that the US doesn't want to do that with us anymore, well, it's more thinkable, right? It's more logical to say, well, fuck it, we'll get their cars. They're cheaper, they're better. Let's just get the cars. So that's pretty much where we are. There's nothing solid. There's only like, we're going to talk about it, but we can see from the posturing on the Chinese side and posturing on the Canadian side, both sides just want to get back to work and increase ties, which is overall a good thing. So now that I've bored everybody to death with an in-depth explanation of what the fuck's going on. There's not much more than that, okay? Let's go back to work. Well, the Vars Declare actually works, like, fully. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, the thing is, I was part of the people that were like, Trudeau needs to go. Because I'm somebody that is extremely economics focused. I like econ. I like looking GDP go up. I watch the Bank of Canada's like meeting. Okay, I watch this shit, and I'm like, are they lowering the rates? Are they not? They're not lowering the rates. Fuck yeah! And I have a house and it fucks me, but I'm still happy, right? But so, like, when I wanted Trudeau to go, but Trudeau did some insanely good things. I cannot thank him enough. I would literally not be streaming right now if he wasn't there. So, even if I don't like the fact that he had this approach to foreign policy, I still gotta say, goddamn. Trudeau is a king in making sure that we don't fucking starve and that all the families have enough money to feed their kids and clothe their kids and have somewhere to send their kids so that the parents could work. Like, parents have a dignified existence in Canada. I'm memeing. Yeah, I know. I was just like going off. I have no fucking idea about Canada politics. I'm just interested that now. It's just interesting that now they want to export oil and gas to China while being a USA neighbor. Oh yeah, there's so much to talk about that too. It's because the US kind of fucked us, right? Because, okay. Canada was truly the US backyard. We were the place where if you wanted to come and extract some minerals and you wanted someone somewhere near the US, or maybe you wanted to like look at the regulations to see what was optimal, you went to Canada and you could cross the border with your shit with no tariffs. And it made sense. But when Trump did his whole retard spiel, like, it changed everything over here. Like, most Canadian are ready. We are ready to go pretty far to fuck the US. So, yeah. Who didn't they fuck? Like, no matter who's in power in the city, fuck everybody. No, I disagree with that. That's the issue, right? Is that, like, under Biden, like, for sure you can say that Biden did some things that should have been done in another way. I have a couple of them. But, like, there's a difference with, like, we disagree that you're about how you export your steel or import and re-export steel, and we're just going to try to rape your economy, like. Okay, let's just say that if Canada and the US were in the Middle East, what the US said to Canada, what Donald Trump said publicly, targeting Canada, would be a declaration of war. If we were Israel and the US was Egypt, we would be in Egypt right now. Okay, that's that's just the truth, okay? So anyway, I just think that it's more rough from Canada's point of view, because as much as we can say like they fucked everybody, there is a difference between somebody that you've made a pledge that you're going to work with, and you're going to be tariff-free, and you're going to have very integrated economies. It's a little bit as if Germany and France started tariffing each other and saying that each other's territory is, like, not theirs. Like, that would be unhinged, right? That would be another level of rape. So... And not just memeing saying things, but... Anyway. Let's try to find some more complex files so that we can fuck around and find out. Oh yes, cat.h. I'm going to suffer. E40 is my favorite rapper. Based, Andrew. Ho ho ho! Mmm. Alright. Oh shit, we've got probably too much output. Okay, we've got a couple of skips ranged. Let's just see if we have other things that we have to look at. Besides the 5,000 macros. Okay, struct declare, var declare, function declare. Did we do it? What the fuck? Enum? Ooh. No, Ligma hasn't been there in a couple of days, but he said that he wouldn't. I mean, he has a life too, and he's a EU guy. He's a Swede, I think. Okay, CPU idle type. Let's take a look. CPU idle. Whoops, CPU idle type. Alright, it's just an enum. So for enums, we should probably... How do enums even work? Let's take a look. Not C++. I want some C. C. Keywords, enum. Yes. Give it to me. What the fuck is this? As with struct or unions, a declaration that introduced an enumerated type is one. This is going to fail so bad. So in my understanding, enums are just like ints. Yes, they are. Okay. They're just ints with names. Alright. Alright, we're going to do our best to parse this shit, and we'll see. Okay. What are we going to need for enums? We probably only need the actual name of the things in order. And maybe the values. Nah, let's just go with the name of the things in order. So let's actually create the AST part first. And what's the name? Enum declare. Gotta love that enum declare. Alright, line, name, and... Are they members? Guess I could call it enumerator list. Oh. Underscore. Or enum lists. No, that part can stay long. This one is the short one. Okay. I thought you were streaming on a new channel. Soon enough, soon enough. I'm just making sure that everybody's subscribed. Like, nobody's subscribed. I know when I will switch, there's going to, like, miss a couple of people. It's going to be boring as fuck. So, yeah. I should put more intentionality into my channel to try to make some views. I'm just lazy. And also, I've got a lot going on in my personal life, so I'm just trying to survive. I don't know. Will it ever stabilize? Will I ever have a simple life? Hell nah. Guess I'll be forced to do whatever the fuck it needs to be done. Alright. How do we know from Syndex? Wait, why is Syndex not at the top? Bro, my life has become shit if Syndex is not here. Syndex. Am I making the intro for Sega here? Sega. Sega. Okay. Okay, but can I go? Okay. Can I go into it? Hi, Isaac. How's it going? Can I go into this? Bro. Okay. I don't know how to, like, find it. And I don't want to flash the screen with it. I will. By the way, folks, look at the pinned message and subscribe to the new channel. This is where we're going to stream in the short future. Alright. Alright, I'm trying to search things about enums here. What are the odds that we're just going to have to loop through Get Children and it's going to be an absolute war crime? Alright, fuck it. Let's just take a look. We're making some pretty good progress. Even if I'm only yelling at things. Just finished the team project for uni, at least to the point that it works now. Good! That's some good shit. There's just some satisfaction of, like, finishing a project. Or at least getting things to work to the point where you only have to, like, do the slight adjustment. Give yourself more credit. I enjoy your effort you put in this, and this entertainment offer its own kind of flavor. You seem realer than most YouTube dev because your balance of life it reflects. Thank you, Andrew. That's so kind. I appreciate it. But yeah, I know. I'm special, okay? I'm different. Alright. Enough dumb shit here. Okay, why don't I just keep my freaking loop? Okay, I need to keep that loop around and stop killing myself with this. I do the same shit each and every time. Like, what the fuck is this? Okay, tell me. What the fuck is this? Okay. No, I gotta parse through this shit. Ligma wouldn't say something like that. Well, Ligma would. Ligma does sometime. He was getting better. There's a reason why I openly criticize the guy. It's because he doesn't know, right? Like we often forget, but these people don't perceive whenever they're rude. So that's why stating it in a constructive way in a safe environment like this stream is a good thing. And I have way too much autistic people that I've known, okay? So I know how to deal with it. Alright, there's a shitload of enums, and none of them seem to be okay. Oh no, it's the same one. Okay. Holy shit, how many freaking things are there? Okay, so the children are constant declare. Alright. Alright, well that seems simple enough. So I can just, like, try to see if it's a cursor kind constant declare, just to confirm. And then if it is, I shove the spelling into the AST. Yeah, we're good. I wouldn't have said it if he was a stinky Indian or some... Andrew, you fucking dipshit. You went from good guy to fucking retard. Why? We don't say these things, okay? We're better than this. I could have double it and send it to the next person. We're better than them. No. Fuck. That's not cool, okay? First of all, we don't choose where we're born. Okay, enough racist memes. Okay. It's not funny. It is, but it... Fuck, okay? We should be inclusive. And because you're born on another place, doesn't mean anything else, okay? But I can say that if you vote for independence in Quebec, you're a dipshit. Of course I'm still laughing, it's funny. Like I always say it because it's true, but I was brought racist, okay? I am racist to my core. It's not good. But it's just true. So what the fuck am I going to do? I'm trying to be less racist because I know that it's bad for my daughter. At least I have good intentions with this, okay? Can it tell me how the fuck I named the things? Thank you. Expand on. Okay. Racism is only funny whenever it's not something that is like a sincerely held belief. So let's stupefy the shit out of this. Let's create this. And let's append this. Yep. This and spelling for this thing. This should return text, at least I hope. There is an acceptable amount of racism. I don't see it like that. I prefer to see it like there is some racism that is okay. There is some racism that is not sincerely held, or that like it would still be bad. Shit. Okay, so I was thinking about... Okay. My grandma is dead, so I can talk about this. My grandma was racist, but I don't think that she was, like, nefarious with her racism. So... Okay. That will sound unhinged, but she was old as fuck, okay? So, she saw a little black kid in a wheelchair, and she used not only a defamatory word for disable, but also the N-word. So she said like N-word the poor little N-word disabled kid. And like, of course, everybody fucking laughed because of how unhinged this statement was. But when my grandma said that, I truly believe that if I were to scan her brain, she thought that that was like an accurate description of what she saw. And by that I mean that a black person, like that doesn't exist. What exists is an N-word. And that a disabled person doesn't exist. It's a I don't think that there's equivalents in English. Who gives a shit? So like, okay, here's let's come back, okay? So here's the issue. Is she nefarious? No. Is this bad? Well, in the context of like the family meetings, and everybody is like not racist in the family meetings because like we all fucking laughed and look at each other like grandma is fucking unhinged. Like in that context, it's probably not like bad. It did not hurt anyone, and the fact that she thought this while looking at the situation but did not say anything to anybody, like no harm were done. But at the same time, as soon as you're saying this to somebody who may actually be racist, then harm is being done because you reinforce their retarded idea that like black people are inferior or something. That's why I prefer xenophobia. Racism is just wrong color. But xenophobia pushes you to actually learn about other culture and their ways to have a basis of what not to like them. Oh man, I know that you're memeing with that, but xenophobia is actually like the most toxic thing ever. Because, and that's probably like the most European thing ever, or the most Asian thing ever too. I'm just thinking about how insane it is that we don't really have that in Canada. What the fuck? It's unhinged. Like, most countries that I, like, know of, I can clearly construct in my mind how, like, the people of this country could be xenophobic. Anyway. I mean, our point of view are so vast. Racism, the least of the problem, unless, like, there's plan to attack. Some people look at humans and think they're efficient. No, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't act in a specific way, Andrew. So, let me use myself as an example, right? I was that kid when I was very young. I was that kid yelling the N-word in the CS lobby, right? In the Counter-Strike lobby. And while playing Dota. But that is, like, bad. Right? It's just bad. Because you don't know the color of the person playing with you. Maybe they're black. Maybe they're not black, or they're offended for some reason. But it still feels bad, right? Whenever, because of course I have some kind of accent, and it was even worse when I was younger. It would be like, whenever somebody was like, you fucking frog, you fucking Frenchie, it doesn't feel good, right? Even if you're going full banter and you're just bumping into them and fucking them over, even if you're like clearly fucking up their day because you're trashing them too hard, it still doesn't feel good. Like, that interaction is a net fucking loss. So that's why whenever I hear somebody do like these kind of things, like just like yell the N-word in the CS lobby, it's like, yes, I am going to speak up and call them a retard. I will. Like, it's a net bad to have these things happen. So that's why we need some low-level at least self-policing and also community policing. So that we stop being retards. Doesn't help anybody to do this. Dude, I met an ethnically Albanian guy from Kosovo. I've never met a more unhinged guy. When he started talking about Serbians, damn, I thought us Pole had a reputation, but damn. That's something that I think is a little bit unhinged with Europe, is that your identity is so linked to your race. And that's something that, like, guys, you're so fucked. This is unhinged. Like, the idea that you must be, like, genetically French to be French, or that you could, or that you need to be, well, you need to be a Pole in order to be Polish. Like, that's bad at so many levels. Like, I cannot even start to display how retarded that is. Because, look, whenever you have those people that are xenophobic, and, well, that would be just racism. Because, okay, xenophobia is... I'm going to read your thing because I think it's interesting. I mean, because of the wars and so on, we are pretty mixed genetically, but culture and nation ethos is something very important due to those wars and so on. Yes, I understand what you mean. Okay, it's weird. Let's look at the US, right? The US cannot be racist because they are so mixed and they don't have real quote-unquote race, right? Like, you cannot look seriously... You cannot look at me seriously in the eye and say that the Irish guy and the Italian and that the guy from the UK and that the French guy are all the same race. They're not, bro. They're not, okay? So even if you're like white supremacist, it fails in the US. And in Canada too. Because it's retarded. It feels retarded as you do it. But in Poland, even if there's some mixing, it's probably way less worse than that. Like Ukrainians right now, I was thinking about the same thing. Kievan Rus was older than Red Rus, but they didn't have their own place nation. Now they're fighting for it. Yeah. I mean, it's so unoptimal, it's triggering me. I like when things are optimal. The fact that you cannot bring in immigrants that are like the best thing for your economy and the best people for to do a specific job, the fact that you cannot do that because your people will like revolt because there's some foreigner and it's bad, that kills me. And oh man, it probably kills me a lot more because I used to believe that. I used to be like, when I say I used to be racist, I used to be like well, it was way more popular in 2016, but it was the racial IQ, scientific racism, that's how they called it. But yeah, it fucking hurts. Like, when I hear some people that have like a quarter of my takes, I want to kill myself. I believe some culture are better, but first, you don't have to shout about it to everyone, nor be ashamed of it. And second, you should express it to specific people. Economy is not the most important thing in my opinion, but it's just my opinion, and we can disagree. I would like to debate it, because individual characteristics are much more significant than group characteristic. It's easy to say that in Poland, you should not. If you could ask Linus Torvald anything, what would you ask? Not much. I'm brain dead. I don't think I could ask anything of value to him that wasn't asked before. Like, I think I know my place in life for a lot of things. I'm not a good dev. I'm probably a little bit above average intelligence, but I have not leveraged it over enough time, so kind of a retard. Anyway, we're in politics right now, Dustin. I'm sorry about if you came here for some dev work. I think we're not going to do much of it, although we seem to have some things done. I could run this. I think it will work. But okay, let's just address in order what was said. Some cultures are better than others. I think that it's kind of a thing that we can say, and that is kind of empty. Because what you're saying is that this, like, what is culture? Culture is a grouping of people that have similar background, interests, language, history. Like, that's culture, right? So where does that culture come from? That's civilization / nation. Could you bring me, what would be your definition for culture? Then I don't get it. And to be honest, I'm somebody that doesn't get culture. Like, I get in arguments with Quebec people all the time, Quebec nationalists, and I just don't get it. You've said AI is great for vibe coding in hobby project, but slop for kernel. Where exactly is the line? So, well, Dustin, to answer that, whenever you make code, you need to understand the purpose of your code and what it does behind the scene. If you don't understand that, you're not doing it right. So doing things with an AI works great for a lot of things. But the big issue I have is that people seem to think that just chatting with the AI and having no understanding of what it actually does in the background is like a fair way to make code. Whenever you do this, you just end up with something that you won't be able to resolve later. Whenever there's some error, whenever there's some things that are not optimized, you're just going to be stuck. It's not going to work well, and you're going to yell about it. It might be able to produce a project. It might be able to produce something of value, but you're still having this issue, right? So that's why if you're just vibe coding a project, that's good, right? Go ahead, have fun, and that's okay. But in the kernel, the stakes are higher. You have some responsibility. There is, like, people don't think about it like that, but there is a chain of command in the kernel. Like, we could bring it back a little bit like a military. So, in the military, like, you've got your infantry, like your lower troops, and then you've got the guys that are, like, managing these different squads, and that gives jobs to these different squads, right? There's some separation of powers, but at the end of the day, each of them have some level of responsibility over what they're doing. And same thing with the kernel. Whatever code you write, you have some responsibility. A little bit like in the army, if some guy along the way fucks up and ends up with a bunch of people killed, it's his fault. Well, in the kernel, if you write some dumb shit and you don't understand it, it's your fault. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, and that's why when you're making serious code with, like, code with high stakes, let's put it that way, going vibe coding mode is probably retarded. It doesn't help anybody, and you're going to end up doing something that will fuck somebody up. And my project, I use AI all the time, but I don't vibe code, right? Vibe coding is this idea that you're just going to throw shit at the AI and it's going to build something for you. What I do is whenever I'm confused and I don't know what a type, we had the example yesterday, right? Let's open up the Gemini history. Like, I was conflicted about what type kind elaborated was, right? And whenever you read about it, there's no, like, simple explanation. So AI will get you out of there, and then you're not just copying over the code, you're thinking about it, testing some things, you get an understanding, and you can go forward. So that's how you should use AI, as a way to have, like, the most OP Google search ever. But, like, whenever you do a Google search, you're not expecting to just copy and paste your code, right? You're expecting to understand. Okay, I think we have a definition, and that's going to help me. Oh, tying this back to Linux, grew up in a privileged culture in Finland of Swedish speaker. What has made this small group so much more successful than other Finns, for example? I don't know, but like, there's some things that just comes from either oppression or being a separate group. If you're always feeling under attack and you're always feeling like you're about to get shafted, you're going to work so much more towards making your in-group survive, and you're going to maybe trust more your in-group and work more. Like, when I say work more, I mean that normally we have an individualistic way of viewing the world, but maybe you're going to drop that individualism to try to get more by being a group. This is what happens with Jews, and this is probably, well, what happened in the past with Jews. This is probably what happened with Swedish speaker in Finland. Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me. Culture is all product from a certain group. Social behavior, institutions, norms, knowledge, beliefs, arts, laws, custom, shared history. Um, Holy, that's vague. Um, okay. Okay, here's Stan. I think that your brain is wired in a way that culture means something to you. Let me just try to, like, share why everything that you've just said feels like a little bit of nonsense. Um, so, culture is the opposite of nature. I'm even more fucked there. Okay. Okay. When is something culture? And when is something not culture? So let's take an example. In Canada, a big chunk of Canada speaks English. And these people are going to share a lot of things with the US culture-wise. So is Taylor Swift part of Canadian culture? And if your answer to this is no, at what point is something culture? If it's yes, then culture is meaningless at that point. Because what you're saying is that whatever the group that is currently there, that was brought up by the system that was there before them, but whatever this group like thinks and like is what quote-unquote culture is. So at that point, let's stop like stating that culture is this big thing to preserve and just accept the fact that culture is permanently changing, and it is something that we should seek to change, because then we could look at our norms and think that they are culture. It is our norms to not want women to work. It is our norms to be racist. It is our norm. Like you. Like, that's why, like, no matter how deep I go into this, I always feel like either culture is this ephemeral thing that can never change, but somehow, like, change in the past, or culture is this thing that can change, but we should give a shit about it anyway. Like, and I feel like we're bundling a bunch of issues within one issue also. Language is not culture. Like, it can be linked, but if your argument is like, well, if we all have different cultures, we're not going to be able to understand each other, and we're not going to... Okay. Well, I'm not saying that everybody should speak a different language, and I understand that we have all different customs and norms, but at the end of the day, if we can, like, have some kind of translation layer, right? If we could all be on the same cultural plane for a small chunk, we're okay. Sometimes I use AI to make scripts for me for a simple thing like in Visual Basic for Excel macros. That makes absolute sense to do that. What kind of panda did you end up getting for your daughter? I don't have a panda for my daughter, but well, I actually have a red panda. I have a big ass red panda. We have a zoo in Quebec, and it has a red panda. And at my high school, it was a big meme that we were like fan of the red panda. So I bought like the biggest fucking red panda there. That was unhinged, but it is cool, and I should like it's stored right now, but I should bring it out. She probably would love it. Anglo culture is so dominant with the world. It's hard to see it. We should all speak English in Canada. Yes. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. There are advantages to having a apart French, or at least bilingual. But yes, I think that if I have a Thanos gauntlet and I could, and like Quebec would speak English, I would. I would. What's the problem with the fact that culture is changing? Culture has to be something that is specific to group of people, not universal to all humans. Globalization is good. Okay, what's the problem with the fact that culture is changing? The problem with the fact that culture is changing is that if it's changing, why the fuck should I be the person that wants to stay it there? Whenever we go into culture arguments, it's always the, well, culture shouldn't change or my culture is superior. And in both of those cases, they're always meant to try to, like, you're just trying to protect a culture that will change. Stop trying to protect it. It will change. It's a little bit like being against progress. Like, I don't get it. Preserving culture is not good by itself. I agree. And like and then we could say, oh, but we should preserve good culture. But then I would say, well, why the fuck do you have a system that, like, doesn't incentivize a good behavior? Because I feel like you're ascribing to culture then something that it is not. Anyway. I mean, I still look at it as if globalization wasn't a thing. Okay, maybe this way. Culture is a set of shared meaning and resources a group uses to understand the world. Have you ever been to Japan? I've only went to Cuba and like 2 times in Ontario. Which is a province, okay? I used AI to help me with AMD drivers and VLC codec error. It suggests me to remove half of my install program on my system, and it didn't tell me about that. Yes, so exactly, you've just run into exactly what I said. So if you don't understand what whatever the fuck AI is telling you to do, you probably should not do it. And it's probably on you, right? The goal is not to randomly shove whatever AI is giving you. The goal is to bring in understanding. And I think that's a big issue with AI. With the vision of AI. Sorry. Preserving culture. Okay. The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders and love chatter in place of exercise. Children are now tyrant, not the servant of their household. They no longer rise when their elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their leg, and tyrannize their teacher. Let's go into it. Okay, let's go into that. What you're describing me is not a culture problem. It's a societal problem. Whenever you see these things through the prism of culture, what you're saying is that this ephemeral culture thing, we need to change it or restore it or, like, enforce it. But whenever you see it like that, you're adding a buffer, right? The issue that you have are these individual bad manners. They're not the cultures. If your issue is that kids are, like, way too much exposed to luxury, well, then maybe look about them using less cell phone, them going less on the internet, because the internet and social media is all about luxury, right? They see wealth being spun into their face, And you expect them to do what? The popular things on the internet are all the rich kid things, right? So, like, look at each of these problems and try to fix them individually or try to understand the source of them. But putting culture into it just makes me feel as if we're adding a buffer between what we should truly do and the truth. And let's go deeper into it. Everything that you've showed there, every example there, all that I was reading for the start, so children now love luxury, they have bad manners, contempt for authority, they show disrespect for elders, love chatter in place of exercise, children are now tyrants, not servants of their household. Okay, so that part, they no longer rise when elder enters the room, contradict their parents. First of all, most of these things are not by themselves bad. Second of all, these things might just be there because they have shit parents. Like, at some point, we need to realize that if a child is in some way doing a bad thing, how the fuck else could it be acting this way than if it was programmed to do so? And who gets to program their children? In a lot of time, it's going to be the parent. You cannot expect as a parent to be respected when you don't respect your child. You cannot expect your, okay. I think that I'm going to be, and that I am, a good dad. But there is a place inside of me that I tell myself, if ever my daughter tells me I'm not good enough and I'm a bad father, like whenever she's 18 or like later, of course, and that I shouldn't talk to her anymore, whenever I'm raising my daughter, I'm raising a better version of myself. And I'm not saying that because I want her to be like me. I'm saying that because I want her to not have to live through whatever the fuck I lived through. I want her to have a better start at life than I did, and I want her to grow up and do all the cool shit that she wants to do. So whenever she's going to make a choice, I will believe her, and I will trust her in that choice. I feel that most parents would not be able of that. Most parents would think that their child is insane for making a request, for going against them, when in reality, it's probably just them being wrong, right? I don't talk to my mother and my father because my mother is unhinged, and I'm not compatible with my father. What the fuck am I supposed to say? So, and let's take my my example with my grandmother. Like, my grandmother was unhinged because she was racist, but she was also unhinged because she was a bad mother herself. Should I be raising, like, should I give a shit whenever she enters the room? Should I give her respect because she is my elder? No. No, she hasn't earned it. I'm sorry, but just producing a kid, that's not enough for me. Like, everybody can do a kid, okay? Yes, it's a hard process. I'm a single dad. I know about it. But at the end of the day, fuck, it's easy, okay? Put a dick in it, and you got a kid, okay? Alright, big rant. Does the Roman Catholic Church deserve a greater place in Quebec society? No. Roman Catholic Church was a big thing that radicalized Quebec. I think you have another comment about it. I totally agree with you, Maple, about AI. I hope everyone uses it like that. I hope too, but it doesn't seem like it. Everything starts at home, that's true. I'm glad that we don't have that kind of culture anymore. Yes. Hi, Toad. The Catholic Church is basically the legacy codebase and root API. It's the original documentation and version control tradition that keeps the whole globe network from crashing. No. I think that people have like a slot inside of them that that they need religion for it, and you either have it or you don't. No, sorry. Roll back the tape. You need purpose. And some people are able to derive it from achieving goals. This is my case. I like achieving things, trying to make a community, and I'm trying to do things on my own thing in politics too, right? I'm trying to get the world to a better state, and I feel that if I'm able, in my little way, to add on to the great project that is my country, I'll feel better whenever I'll be on my deathbed. So that's me, right? But some other people need religion. But it's nothing more than that, right? Let's not pretend that religion is that crazy thing that keeps us in line. Religion can be an incredible bad as it could be an incredible good. Whenever I look at what the Pope is saying, I'm like, wow, he's so cool. And then whenever I see another scandal of a fucking priest raping some kid, it's like, rip, right? So it's not because we need to stop moralizing tools. Religion is a tool. It is the tool to create purpose inside of you. It is not there to be good in and of itself. There is no such thing as tool. It's just a... Anyway. Hide your daughter from Andrew. Absolutely, I need to. Andrew, get the fuck away from my daughter. Alright. Isaac, you really just like hierarchical... Fuck. Society with strong hierarchy. Okay. Later sessions gonna start now. Oh, okay. Bye. Love you, Toad. Isaac, if you were talking about me, I feel that it fits more with the other comments, but if you were talking about me, yes, I do like hierarchies, because we naturally, like, are hierarchical, and I feel like we lie to ourselves a lot. Like, we like to think that everybody's equal, but it's not true. We like to think that we all, like, are equally deserving of every... That's not true, right? Like, there's the guy that's just going to sit on his ass, do nothing but yell the N-word in Counter-Strike his whole life. Is this person deserving of as much as the person that, I don't know, does the trash in the street every single day? And that is a good citizen that does everything as he should and picks up the trash. I think the person that picks up the trash has more value to my society. And yes, I want them to have a better life than the other, okay? Yes, I want that hierarchy. And it goes up as much as it goes. Quebec did a hard reset on its original OS. They moved the logic to state server, but lost the source code. The church that kept their unique cultural program from crashing into genericism. I think that Quebec, you seem to have strong opinions of Quebec. I think that there's a big problem in Quebec with how we see culture. We seem to think that language and culture is this thing that should never move, and that is very important to, like, our lives as Québécois. But at the end of the day, Maybe it's just me that I've been brought up differently, but I don't feel that close to any elements of, like, Quebec culture that is not something that is shared through Canada. And I don't care about speaking French or English. I'm just going to speak the one that I think about right now, right? And what's bad with that? There's nothing bad with that. And whenever a kid is speaking in English or has English expressions in Quebec, in a Quebec school, why the fuck should they feel bad or be, like, pushed away just because they're following the same culture that everybody's following online, right? I don't care. I just don't give a shit about it. Like, culture has never done a good thing to me. What has done a good thing to me is our institution, our government, our society. My country is fucking based. And that's what I want to build up. Not culture. Culture has... it's nothing, right? What distro should someone new to Linux use? I currently use Mac OS. It's really hard because I would need to know what the fuck you want to do with it. But at the end of the day, if you're from Mac OS, there's a lot of Ubuntu-based distros that are very polished. So maybe you could go there and you would be happy with it. If you want to get a bit more technical, which to me is way funnier, and to try to understand things and to play a bit more with things, just go with Arch. It's really not that hard, and it's a lot of fun. Does anyone still believe that society would have fallen apart without religion? After the 19th century, people try to believe this. How do you feel about mining industry? I don't feel good or bad about any industry. In fact, I am right now heavily invested in oil, in Canadian oil. So, like, I don't give a shit. The truth is, your moral is not decided at that level, okay? People are fucking retarded, and they think that investing in some industry or an industry doing something is a moral statement. It never fucking is, okay? Whenever there was this big banking crash in 2008, okay? It wasn't a moral statement, okay? The banks were not like, we're going to fuck the common people by creating these derivatives and killing all the market when it crashed. No, okay? That's not what happened. The market saw that there was money, and the Republicans deregulated the fuck out of the market, so everybody jumped into it, and it fucking crashed. The morality does not come from the market players, it comes from government. Just like if you were doing a match of, I don't know, you're playing chess, and it's chess plus, and in that magical game of chess plus, if you have one piece left on the board, you can pull out a Glock and shoot your opponent. Are you immoral for doing that? Or are you just not fucking retarded and you don't want to die because the other fucker will do it if you don't? The truth is the second answer is true, okay? There's no morality there. You're trying to survive, right? So it's the same thing throughout the whole system. The morality is made through modifying policy. The act of modifying policy is how you get your morality and you try to impose your morality onto the world. It does not come from market players that just try to make the system work, unless they're doing something illegal. Okay. Enough rant. I like my rants. I won't stop. I'm not saying hierarchy is bad, you just don't have to strengthen this by showing it at every step. Even in a family. Well, I would agree with that. I think that hierarchy inside of a family is bad because it's often used to just bash the kid over the head with like, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're a dumb fuck. While in reality, you should foster like thinking about these things and debating it and talking about how to go about doing something in a good way instead of being dogmatic, which just teach the kid that you're not listening and that you don't give a shit about them. I want to play Paradox game, but I also want a bit of challenge, learn new skill. Arch will do. I play Paradox games too. Arts of Iron works on my Arch. I also have played, what's the other? Crusader King, that works too. Was I on Arch when I played the other one? No, okay. Yeah, it should work pretty well. Don't think that it's an issue. Like, you have to have been able to build and maintain them at the beginning. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was missing a part. Institutions are also part of culture. Like, you have to be able to build and maintain them at the beginning. I disagree, okay? Institutions are squarely within government, and that's about it, okay? Whenever your country is a fucking shithole, I'm going to use 80 because everybody's going to fucking agree. It's a shithole. It's a bad place to live. Everybody's just dying and getting shot. When your government is the Asian government, you don't give a shit about the courts. Because the government's not even able to enforce their... They don't even have control of their fucking capital. So how do you want to have institution? How do you want to have courts? You don't, right? So, I don't think that these things are linked. I don't think that the Asian people are culturally damaged and that they are just like ungovernable, right? I don't think that. And I feel like that's insane. Because all the... Okay, maybe that's just me that's racist. I don't give a shit. It's positive, okay? So, all the Asian guys that have come into Canada that I know of have been the most law-abiding motherfuckers ever. And their country's a shithole. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't see how culture has any word in that. And what are we talking about when we talk about institutions, right? Institutions are based. They're cool. But I don't think that people know what they are. Industry and an institution doesn't get me laid. Yes, that's because you're a fucking loser. But I love you, Andrew, okay? Don't kill yourself, please. Python gets you laid, Andrew. Just look at my ad maple. True, okay? I didn't do a fucking line of maple before I got a kid, okay? But you know what? It's retroactive. You'll see, okay, Andrew? You'll write your 1000th line of Python, and you'll wake up, you'll be 2 years in, having a stream, kid sleeping. Bro, no. This proves that Asians have such a culture that they are unable to create sensible institution. How so? How does it prove? Everybody is anti-institution by default. Everybody. And that's a problem. That's what I'm fighting for every fucking day. Like, the US is anti-institution by default for some fucking reason. Imagine winning and being on the top of the world and hating institution. What the fuck? Not at the same level. Yes, you're probably right. You're probably right. For example, Francis is not. You're retarded, my friend. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'll ignore whatever the fuck that comments was. I'll let you think again. And and then find another country for an example. I agree that there's level to it. But France is anti-institution, my friend. You know what? I'll be fair. And I'll explain. Anti-institutionalism is not only wanting to destroy what already exists, but it can also be wanting to keep something that is unsustainable. So if you want your institutions to succeed, you should want them to evolve. Whenever your state is about to fucking collapse, and whoever is leading it is like, brother, we have to have more taxes, or we maybe have to like change some things over here so that like the retirement age is a little bit lower, and we're going to try to make this work. And people are like rioting on the fucking street. They're rioting to destroy their own country. You get that, right? My point is that France is the most pro-institution, maybe not pro-government. Like, I don't know, I think my country is pretty pro-institution. It's just that it's a cucked position, right? It's cucked to come out and to say, yes, I like the Bank of Canada. Yes, I like the courts. Canada is basically France, but in North America. Thoughts? Yes and no. That's kind of funny. I had a funny moment, okay, where there is this this idea, maybe it's universal, maybe not, that France is highly taxed, and that like their taxes are so much higher than anything we have in Canada or anything we have here in the. So, like, somebody said that, and I was like, we always say that, but we never checked. And I fucking checked. They're taxed less than Canadians, at least in Quebec. So, like, okay. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like people hate or think things about certain countries, but they really have no ideas. How could I say that? Our countries are all wired in specific ways that make sense. Like, to Canada, it makes sense that we are a monarchy and that there is an unelected person that technically holds the power of literal everything inside of their hands, but never do anything with it. The Governor General, by the way. So, like, that makes sense. But you say that to the American, they're like, what the fuck? You're telling me that there's this person that has all of this power and is unelected? Like, everybody's going to have, like, weird views about the system, but at the end of the day, it ends up in similar result. Now, I would argue that the Canadian system is superior, but I could ramble on a lot for that. But no, Canada and France are very different. Very different. Although right now, we're both trying to uphold the international order. We could call it that way. I just think that, okay, I think that that might be the issue. Defending institution is always cooked. Because either you're poor as fuck and your institutions are really shitty, but they're all that you have, or you're doing good and you have no fucking clue what doing bad is. So you think that your institution are fucking you while they're not. It's really rare to see people that are just like, yeah, the system is working fine. And the problem is that the system in Canada, it's working pretty darn fine. God bless you. Based. Gotta love that God. I'm a yapper. Oh. Yapperoni. Nobody yaps as much as me. Okay, let's try to find the enum thing while I wait for your comments. Serve me with comments, you subhuman. Okay, that may be a little bit too far. Where's my enum, bitch? I could, like, search, but it would fuck up at the start, and I don't want to do that. Okay, shit. Wait, Maple Codes? Open up Temple OS. Yes. Well, okay, we can do the meme where like, oh, Maple doesn't code. But in reality, progress is being done, okay? Progress is being pretty freaking done. We're near finished, okay? It worked. Do you think Linux has a lot of momentum coming into 2026? I think that everybody that thinks that there's a year of the Linux desktop is coping their ass off, because there's never going to be a year of the Linux desktop. But apart from that, yeah, we're doing good. Alright, we need to fix whatever the fuck happens with the tuple thingy. So I had like a function for printing things, but it only detects list, and it needs to detect tuple. Et il détecte le tuple. Okay, that was kind of racist. Alright. Let's stop speaking Asian. Because it's going to get bad. Okay, give me them colors. I think people are losing it on Microsoft 12. Will there be a Windows 12? I don't see why they would. Hasn't confirmed, but leak code, insider previews. Oh. Okay, and what's the idea for it? AI, no, okay. I don't know, it feels so dumb listening and, like, looking at people talk about releases of Windows. People don't know fucking anything about these things. It's insane. Like, you know what? Let me rant a little bit, okay? First of all, you see the pinned comment up here? The pinned comment? Oh, what is that? It is? Open up, bitch. It is the new channel, okay? Subscribe. There's 7 subscribers right now, and there's like, Okay, there was 8 people watching. But if you're not subscribed, do. We're doing a Windows rant, okay? Microsoft, okay? Microsoft, they're very smart. Very, very smart. They don't do things for nothing. Okay. Why do you think that Windows 11 exists? Okay? I want all of your ideas, okay? If you're in the chat, I want you to think with your big, bulging brain. Why does Windows 11 exist? That's going to be a hard one. Because nobody seems to fucking know. Make money? Being gigafascistic? Forcing you to have an account? Well, it turns out that before, Windows had no base for your hardware. And not only that, it had no plan to encrypt anything. And those two things are very fucking important for the security of your computer. So whenever they came out with Windows 11, the reason why they wanted that TPM fucking chip inside of your computer to install was maybe because they wanted the security of your computer to be top notch. And maybe if they ask you to have an account, is because they want to save the encryption key on your account, so the fact that your computer dies does not mean that you lose all of your data. And what are those two things going to do for you? They're going to make your computer way more secure and fit within a bunch of security standard for enterprise. Holy shit! It turns out that Microsoft wasn't a giga-Nazi after all. It triggers me so hard when people fail to see the obvious. Okay, if ever you see anybody say Microsoft is trying to make a new version because they want to rip you off or they want you to buy a new license, you haven't had to buy a new license since Windows 7, okay? So everybody that says that are fucking retards. Microslop, Windows 11, Copilot, OneDrive refill. Thank you, Rust. For enterprise. Well, yes, but also for all other peoples. You get that everything that I said doesn't only apply to enterprise, but everybody? It's just a standard that was more and more getting important whenever handling important documents, right? Okay, maybe a lot of people haven't worked in any big enterprise, but whenever you work in a big business, there is some standard that they need to enforce. They cannot just use whatever software to stream the data to one place to another. It needs to follow some rules, some regulation, because if you don't and you get your ass fucking sued because there's a leak or something, you're dead. You're fucked. You don't need encryption on a private PC usually. This is where I would agree with you. You don't usually need encryption, but maybe living in a world where let's just think about this, okay? Let's think about this. People have no fucking idea what their computers can and cannot do and what their computers should and shouldn't do. So what if all the computers were encrypted? And that would allow you that if you get your computer stolen, you don't get your data stolen by default. And if you don't want to, well then you, the suicidal retard, get to do that on your own. Because most people actually want their data to be safe, right? Even if there's a marginal cost. Andrew, you're absolutely right. The normal person should be a slave, okay? No PC for them. Technically, update Win 10 to Win 11 is free, but if you haven't got the PC, which means the requirement, then you need to buy a new PC, which also means a new license for OS. That's where you're wrong, my friend. Multiple points. First of all, since Windows 7, the database for the license have been merged, which means that if you have a license from Windows 7, from Windows 10, from Windows 8, we forget about it sometime, it will allow you to install a new install, not an upgrade, okay? A brand new Windows 11 with it. Yes, it does. If you don't believe me, it does. I've done it for a living, for years. This is how we used to make a lot of money, okay? So, Microsoft have never tried to rug you out of your money. That's not the goal. The goal of Windows 11 was especially to put a standard. Because before, with Windows 10, with Windows 7, Microsoft had to deal with all of these parameters, which may be there, may not be there. So do we upgrade for this? Do we don't upgrade for that? But whenever you say, hey, for security, which should be pretty fucking important, but for security, we should have a bottom line, right? We should have a floor, and that floor should be, they say TPM v2, secure boot, and by default, at least on most install, encryption with an account which links your encryption, which means that you won't lose your whole data if ever your PC crash. That's like, I don't see why people don't see that. Like, if you wanted to do your own thing with Linux, this would be the conclusion. You would have to do these things. You would have to go through that process. If you wanted to make a Linux and you wanted to make it safe, well, you would say, okay, well, for the safe version, we would have a baseline. We would need this. We would need that. And we should probably default with that. Right? But Microsoft doesn't get that courtesy, I guess. Alright, enough yapping. We've been somewhat productive. I mean, we've got the enum done, the var declare done, and somehow they both work. So it means that when I replace my motherboard, Win 11 will work without issue, like no license, like I've got in the past. It depends what type of license you have, but some digital license will require you extract them. I don't remember the process. I'm not in the loop for a couple of years, but there's a process where you can extract your digital license. To my knowledge, most license will allow you to just run right through. The issue is that what people will do sometime is they will like change their hard drive from one computer to another and then switch back. Whenever Microsoft sees that on their end, they flag your shit and your license is not going to activate correctly. You're going to have to like reactivate it a couple times and sometime it will get fucky. They know. Don't forget to play the outro song, you're right. Like, Microsoft are not evil. They act in a based way. Oh, you know what? That's the time where we do the missile thing, okay? The parser knows where it is, because it knows where it isn't. By taking the AST that was processed from the lexer, it knows where it should go and where it should be. By subtracting the past AST with the future AST, we can get the sum of all that was processed and know where the parser should be. The lexer knows where it is at all time. Okay. I totally don't agree. Sorry, my friend. Like, I'm not... Okay. Okay, Isaac. That one's for you. I'm not saying that they're perfect. They're not. They fucked up with Windows 8. That was retarded. But that was what people thought the future was at the time, right? Like, go back to Windows 8 time, Ubuntu was trying to do conversions. Conversions was trying to get a phone to plug into an HDMI and then having a full computer with your phone. That was cool, but it was dumb, and it was impossible to achieve correctly. Like, we're now getting there with Android. The compiler now subtracts where the header should be from where it wasn't, or vice versa. And by differentiating this from the algebraic sum of where it shouldn't be, where it was, it is. So why is it so hard to make a local account? That you're answering my question. If you let everybody have a local account, then you break this standard, right? They allow you to do it because they know that there might be like a specific need, but at the end of the day, the goal of Windows 11 is security. It is to have a baseline, and whenever you don't meet that baseline, it just feels like shit for Microsoft to support you. And it just feels like shit to have to say, okay, all the devs for my brand new Windows 11 OS, you need to think about the possibility that some retard doesn't have the default capability that everybody should assume, because we fucking hate you, right? It's not because they're malicious. Like, think deeper. Like, one part that okay, maybe that part wasn't clear. Maybe that part wasn't clear. I'm not saying that you're dumb. Nobody knows this, okay? So don't go think that I'm calling you an idiot, because you're not. You're like everyone, and nobody knows anything about this. If you have local accounts and your disk is encrypted, then what happened when your motherboard, let's say, it breaks and you need to decrypt your drive? It becomes a little complicated, my friend. You're not going to have the recovery key on your own, but Microsoft saves it for you when you have an account. So that's one thing that they can do to help. And there's a bunch of other things, like that's the most day-to-day thing that I add as a technician. But there's a bunch of other shit too. So they make it unusable for people who know what they are doing. Yes, you are not the target. Okay, Isaac, you are not the target of Microsoft. Microsoft is good because they make slop that works for everyone. Just like watching CNN may not be your thing because CNN feels like boomer slop. Because it is. Some things are just not meant for you, right? There's some things that are not meant for me. And that's okay. That's okay. We accept that. We recognize where they're strong, where they're weak, and we deal with it. This is why I use Linux. Because we can modify a bunch of shit. We can do a bunch of fancy shit. If I was like a Windows addict, I would probably use a heavily modified Windows 11 or Windows 10. But I'm not the target audience, right? Can we think about that for a moment? 99.99% of people won't ever use a computer like you do. That's good for you. But Microsoft doesn't make a business on that. I switched to Linux for this reason. Yes! And that's great! Right? That's what we have in common. We're all here, we all like Linux, we all like fucking around with our computer. But it's good to recognize that we're special. Alright. I'm happy that we could end on a positive note. I love you all, guys. I really need to go. Now, one thing before I go. Tomorrow is a shitty day for me. I might talk about it, but anyway. I might not be there, okay? By that, I don't mean that I'm dying, okay? I'm not. I'm just having a bad day. If I'm able to make it, I'll make a little thing and you'll see it in the Discord. So, yeah. But I'll do it like throughout the day. So it might be like 5 p.m. for me and I'll make the thing. And if not, well, fuck it. Okay. I'll have to endure the mother of my daughter, okay? Oof, that one's going to be hard. 1 day per year, okay? We have to live through this. Okay, enough memes. Love you all. Might see you tomorrow. If not, the day after for sure. Love you. With that said, bye-bye.